All right, welcome back, Portland. Fairly new track to iRacing. Certainly new track to me. I don't think it's been on the race schedule either. So this is a whole lot of learning. This is a bit of a awkward track, but it's really fun once you get into the groove. But you do have to find the groove to get around here quick. The guide is a little delayed. It's the holiday season. My schedule is a little bit wonky, so sorry about that. All right, ride height 32 mils. There are some curbs to go over here, and the curbs here are not friendly. They do not play nice. So the ride height is up 32 mils. That's going to get you over those curbs with a little less trouble. The damper compression is softened up in the front again for those curbs. Just one click, it's a 17. Brake bias 57%. For you, it's something different, but that turn one is a devil if you are locking them up. Try increasing the brake bias. This is a little tricky. You're probably going to have a higher brake bias than what you normally have it at. Spring rates, low as they go, front and rear. You know my channel. It is asymmetrical. 2.3 on the left, 2.1 on the right. Go with the higher values if you want to keep those symmetrical. However, the left-hand side is doing a whole lot more work than the right, so that's why that one is turned up. Toe in 1.5. Surprisingly, tire temps here are not super high. This also is giving you a little better turn in and braking and all that good stuff, so that is turned up quite a bit. Spring rates again, low as they go in the rear. iRacing does not like this so much. 1.5 on the left and the right. Those rear tires, especially the left, is doing a whole lot of work. You do need to have that camber turned up. Toe in point two. Again, tire temps, you could maybe try increasing that to a little bit higher, but I did find this was working pretty good. Ride height 41. It is a fair bit higher than the front. That is to increase the rake, just to give the car a little bit more rotation, and as well, getting over some of those curbs, you got to get over a little easier. The ARB is 5. That's why the rake is higher. The ARB is turned down. There are a lot of fast corners here, fast sweeping corners. Having that ARB turned up too high, I found, is not helping out. So that is 5. With the rake, though, the car is rotating pretty nice, and with those toes turned up, it's getting around pretty good. Damper compression 4. It is softened up in the rear again, going over some of those curbs. That's just to make it a little easier, but the rebound is left the same. 13 liters, that should get you to the end, no problem. Gear stack. iRacing has this set as tall. This is one of those tracks where you're kind of on the fence, tall or standard. I did find my fastest laps were with a standard. A tall stack does not get to the rev limit anywhere near the rev limit. With a draft, maybe you will get to the rev limit. With a standard, you're still barely getting to the limit in the straights without a draft. But however, I find it's easier getting through the corners, and as well, very important on this track to be getting good acceleration out of the corners. Yeah, so standard I found was the fastest. All right, so this is a little late, this track guide. So this is an actual live session. Track is 19 degrees and 29%. It's a little bit lower than what I usually do, but because the session was live, I decided to get into a real session. So we'll run this out at slow-mo as usual, and then run it out at full speed. So coming into turn one, yes, I am at the rev limit. There you go. That answers that. So just before the 300 board, yes, you can brake later into this one, but you are going to be compromised on exit. So if you're battling for this corner, yes, you can. But if you're trying to go fast, braking a little earlier is faster. So on the brakes, good blast of brakes, shifting down into second gear, and we are cutting this corner. This corner you can cut, and cut is faster. Getting over these curbs, these are the very nasty curbs. That's why the ride height and dampers are where they're at. So in second gear, letting the car roll in. Just trying to carry as much speed as you can, and then once you are over the curbs, shifting down into first, little bit of brake, get onto this curb, but don't get too deep into it. you definitely don't want to be having your tire in there, getting your car top end onto this curb here. It is raised, but just keeping that left tire kind of on the peak of that curb is ideal. Picking up the throttle nice and early, as you see. I am picking up the throttle just as I get over that curb, and that's important. This is a pretty good stretch, not really a straight, but full throttle. And then getting onto the curb here on the right. Again, not getting on it too much. They are disruptive, so just getting onto the edge there. So looking for the Marshall board, leaving it in third. If you're drafting, you might have it up into fourth, but I find third just works very nicely here. Just a whisper of brakes, just nice and gentle, and then picking up the throttle or managing the throttle, letting the car roll in and picking the throttle up, just to give it a little bit more grunt through this section, and then unwinding the wheel, getting up to the curbs but not really on them, again pretty disruptive, and shifting down into second once you get the wheel straight. No brake, cold tires, you may want to just a whisper a brake, but hot tires, no brake, and then just managing the throttle, keeping a tight line to this curb and picking that up nice and early, just to give it a little bit of blast before the next one. So leaving it in second gear. Again, you can brake later for this one, but you are going to be compromised, so watch out. A little bit of brake here, and then just managing the throttle, keeping a tight line to this curb. If you came in here too hot, you're going to be sliding, and if you are sliding, you're going to be losing speed. So nice and tight, unwind the wheel. Now, I found all the way over to the right here, just extends the track. It's actually going to cost you a little bit of time. So about 3/4 of the way. And again, just leaving it in second gear. You can get up into third, but I find it's more consistent doing this next corner when you leave it in second. Now, there's no great brake marker here. There is a patch of dead grass. That is the best I can do. If there's a car in front of you, that is going to be a little tricky to spot, but it is the best marker I found. So at that patch of dead grass, just a bit of a blast of brakes just to slow the car down. Again, you do not want to be sliding through this section. You can lose a tremendous amount of time getting just grazing that curb. And the very important thing is here you can see before the apex, I am picking up the throttle. This is a big section. Well, it's not really straight, but it's full throttle, and you do have to be on the throttle early. Otherwise, again, you're going to lose a whole lot of time. And then just sort of straight lining it through this section. Obviously, this is going to be a lot of drafting here, battling for the next corner. The fastest way is the wide line, of course, but you may be fighting for this one. So looking for the just just before the 100 board, I probably on hot tires, just a tiny bit of brake, probably a little less than what I did here. Shifting down into third. Shifting down into third is going to slow the car down quite a bit. So that's really what you're looking for. Getting onto this curb but not over it. Again, that's pretty disruptive. It's going to cost you a little bit. And onto this curb as well, and picking up the throttle just to get a little bit before the next corner. And again, you can come in here hotter, but you're going to be compromised on exit. Looking for the yellow line, just getting onto the brake, shifting down into second. A bit of a blast of brakes, not too hard, but a bit of a blast. You don't want to be sliding wide through here. You're going to lose a lot of speed if you're sliding wide through here. Again, getting onto that curb just a little bit and unwinding the wheel and using all of the track here for exit. If your tire gets onto the curb here, no big deal, but you do not want to have your tire over that curb into this stuff. That is going to be trouble, so look out for that. And then just picking up the throttle. Big section here, very important to get on that throttle early. It is a long run to the finish line, so places can be gained. And that is a 1:17.6. I think that should be pretty competitive. Good luck out there. This track is going to take a little bit of practice to get the feel for it, but once you do, it is a fun track to drive. I look forward to this week. I know it is a pay track. Hopefully participation will be pretty good. We'll see you guys next time. I'll run this out at full speed.